Cancelled.
Schweezy.
Let's get into previous week right now. For those of you who don't know, previous week right now is the news that I filter out for you, so you only know news that actually matters in society today. I have been doing usually what I would do is I would Monday following the episode comes out, I would start, planning for what news. Now I am just basically, I realize the news is easy to find. So I just literally, the Friday before the Monday I record this episode, I literally just find 4 news articles that I believe sum up this week in the news, and I call it previous week right now. And so everything I found the date of recording. So let's just get right into it, as Philip DeFranco would say during his show and during sex. I assume he has to say, let's just get right into it.
And I really like that.
Sorry. Let's just get right into it. Fuck, I messed that up on the soundboard. Let's just get right into it. All right. This one's one I'm going to need to read and then comment on, which is exactly why you're listening to this podcast right now. I don't know why I'm saying that shit. Officer completes delivery after DoorDash driver was arrested. This is from ABC 12. I'm going to assume out of Jonesboro, Arkansas, or somewhere near that. So let's just get right into it. An officer with the Jonesboro Police Department went above and beyond to protect and serve dinner to a woman who had placed an order through a delivery service. According to the department, Officer Tyler Williams assisted Officer Levi Chisholm with an arrest during a traffic stop on June 29th. They learned that the person arrested was a driver for DoorDash en route to make a delivery. Police say Williams took it upon himself to get the food out of the vehicle before it was towed. He got the address of the delivery from the arrestee and headed that way. When Williams knocked on the door, the man who opened seemed confused to see the officer. "Your DoorDash guy got arrested, so I brought you your food to you," Williams explained. In the body camera video, you can see surprise quickly turn into laughs as Williams handed over the food. The DoorDash driver was charged for driving with a suspended or revoked license, no proof of liability, and a failure to appear warrant out of a neighboring county. A spokeswoman for DoorDash provided the following statement. "The safety of our community is extremely important, and we take reports of this nature very seriously. We have deactivated the dasher involved and are in touch with law enforcement to support their investigation in any way we can." So, obviously, DoorDash, one of our great sponsors. Obviously, always great to hear from them. But one thing, reacting to this, obviously, I don't like police officers, but it's cool that they at least finish the order. "Hey, man, I have a DoorDash order. Can you at least get the food to them?" It's like, yeah, because I feel like police officers try too hard. If I was a police officer, I would be the worst at, the petty shit, Most of you are thinking, I wish you were a police officer.
And I really like that.
Unfortunately, I'm not racist, so I can't be a police officer. So, sorry to tell you all that, but I cannot be a police officer. But, I guess they did, because I'd be doing shit like that. I'd be goofing around. The movie Superbad, where, the cops were just goofing around the whole time? That would be me as a police officer. I would be goofing around the entire night. I'm gonna go against that light. I would also, scare people into pulling over and then just drive past them. That's happened to me multiple times. Oh, my God, what did I do? Because I have anxiety. So I was like, what the fuck did I do? And then they just passed me. I was like, oh, I didn't do anything. I was. But no, I do want to know, I do question here, with the revoked license and things like that, and no insurance and shit like that, or whatever like that. Obviously, that's bad. You shouldn't drive without if your license has been revoked or whatever, you shouldn't drive. But I know people still will. That's just something I assume is going to happen. Here's the thing, though. Did they pull him over because of that? Or was he doing something else? Because I kind of have a feeling that, if you don't drive with insurance and your license revoked and shit like that, yes, that is wrong and it is illegal. However, if nothing happens, to me, it's like, what's the big deal? It's only a big deal. It's still the reason why you get insurance in the first place, because it's the idea of what if that happens? That's why you have car insurance. That's why they require it. It's just an idea of a what if type of situation. That being said, though, did he actually do something wrong to be pulled over in like this? That's what I want to know. So it's that age-old question. Yeah, that's is an interesting question. It's like, oh, your license the license revoked, though. Unless it's like a DUI type situation, and I don't think this guy was drunk. That's a good question there. But like, with insurance, like, yeah, you should probably have a problem with insurance because like, yeah, oh, I hit you. Oh, I don't have insurance. Which is, yeah, that's a kind of a situation. That's a situation you have there. But nevertheless, though, yeah, the insurance is a problem. But like, with the license, like, you're not doing anything wrong. I don't know. I mean, maybe they were tracking this place. I don't know. It is Arkansas. Like, Florida is God's waiting room, but like Arkansas is like God's toilet. And you know it's God's toilet because Missouri is above Arkansas. And Missouri is shit. And that means Arkansas is the toilet. Hope I offended everyone here today. As I move on to our next article, this is an interesting study because this actually happened in Atlanta because the news report is Fox 5 Atlanta. I'm going to assume it's from Atlanta. Actually, might be somewhere else. I don't know. They're just the ones reporting on it, folks. But I assume Missouri and then second place, Tennessee. I only live in places with meth, apparently. I went, Kansas. Kansas probably has meth. I think Kansas has meth, but it's not as bad as Missouri, which my parents moved to like number 4 places for meth. Places that make Sudafed illegal are kings of meth. And I remember when I moved to Tennessee and I saw people buying Sudafed. I'm like, oh, you can buy that here? Can't buy that in Missouri. Most places in Missouri. For obvious reasons. Let me go for this. I didn't even read the article title. Meth addiction in fish poses threat to ecosystem balance, study says. So this is from Fox 5 Atlanta. A study published in the Journal of Experimental Biology on July 6 found that drugs such as methamphetamines that make their way into the world's waterways through human waste can actually cause fish to become addicts, thereby impacting the natural balance of ecosystems. According to authors of the study, fish have nervous systems similar to human beings and are able to develop drug addiction, such as behavioral dependencies related to the dopamine reward pathways. In the study, researchers observed brown trout because while the species is native to Europe, brown trout can be found in all continents, excluding Antarctica. I've been everywhere, man.
I like that.
Furthermore, brown trout has been employed as a model species in toxicology. Example, Lukenbach et al. 2001. I guess that's a very good research paper that he wrote. And when I wrote, because if I had to write a research paper, my only qualifications are Taylor Swift knowledge. Thus, the result obtained in the present study are broadly relevant to numerous ecosystems, the study said. Meth is a highly addictive drug that acts as a stimulant. It affects the central nervous system of the body and comes in crystalline powder forms, which can easily dissolve in water and liquid forms, according to the National Institute of Health. Results of the study found that fish exhibit similar behaviors to human addicts when going through withdrawals. Withdrawal symptoms include increases in anxiety and stress. Piper 2015 exposed trout in the present study similarly displayed lower probability of movement, suggesting that their ability to explore a novel environment was reduced as a response to stress caused by methamphetamine withdrawal, according to the study. The researchers also noted that fish who had become addicted to methamphetamine exhibit similar behaviors seen in humans in sought-out locations where often drugs are disposed of into waterways by way of human waste. User illicit drugs indirectly introduce these drugs into surface waters following excretion to sewage collection systems and discharge from wastewater treatment plants because these systems were not designed to treat such contaminations, the study said. The unnatural attraction to specific locations where fish can get their dose of meth and other drugs can cause an imbalance in ecosystems, according to the study. Consequently, fish that seek to satisfy their drug addiction shirk the natural desire to forage and reproduce, again, potentially upsetting the balance of nature. The elicitation, I did say that right, of drug addiction in the wild fish could represent another example of unexpected evolutionary selection pressure for species living in urban environments, Johnson and Manishi South 2017, along with ecological side effects of human societal problems within aquatic ecosystems, the study concluded. Okay. According to the 2007 National Survey of Drug Use and Health, NSDUH, approximately 1.6 million people, 0.6% of the population, reported using methamphetamine in the past year in 7,774,000. That's 3.3% reported using it in the past month. A National Institute of Drug Abuse report said, as of 2016, the average age for new meth users was 26, according to NIH. An estimated 964,000 people aged 12 or older, about 0.4% of the population, had a methamphetamine use disorder in 2017. The NIH added these disorders included significant impairment, including health problems, disability, and failure to meet responsibilities to work, school, or home as a result of their drug use. The far-reaching impacts of meth addiction not only impact communities and public safety, but according to Rand Corporation... Wait a minute. Rand Corporation? Is that the one... Iron Fist? Is that the Iron Fist one? I don't know, but that show wasn't as good as I wanted it to be. A report from 2009, methamphetamine misuse cost the nation approximately $223.4 billion in 2005. And as shown in the recent study pertaining to meth addiction in fish, drug abuse has the potential to impact the natural balance of environment. Methamphetamine users can unknowingly cause fish methamphetamine addiction in the ecosystem around us. Furthermore, drug addiction can have enological destructive effects on population of wild animals as well as the human society. Dr. Pavel Horky, co-author of the study, told Fox TV stations in an emailed statement. Okay. This is a very interesting article because the title is funny, but it was actually a very serious article.
That's rough, buddy.
So here's the thing I'm trying to think of here, because my mind initially went to the idea that people were getting busted by the cops, and so they were flushing all their drugs, and that would lead to the fish, and then the fish would get addicted to meth. But I then forgot, like cigarette butts and, whatever's left over from whatever kind of weed you smoke, like in a bowl or whatever. With that, like, does that go into the water? I'm assuming, does that go into the water, and they're just, like, used up, like meth or weed and shit like that? Is that a case for it? Like I said, the worst drug I've taken was weed. I've taken weed. I've smoked weed. And obviously, I think, it's in Portland, just legalize all drugs or whatever. I think that's just a good idea because obviously, the war on drugs is made for black people. And then that track runner, I want to say, who just got, who was from Oregon. She was in Oregon, and she got disqualified from competing in the Olympics because she smoked weed. And it's weird, though. I haven't talked to my dad. My dad would probably have something to say about that. However, though, she took a drug test in Oregon, and I believe, aren't the drug tests like the Olympics people take? I assume it's for making sure you're not using like body-enhancing drugs. That's the test they're having you take, though. And weed does not enhance anything, especially in running. If anything, it makes you slower. She just sounded like she just had a rough night and wanted to take the edge off. And for someone who's trying to be athletic, weed's probably going to be a little bit better on her body than like drinking heavily would. I would know. Just look at me. Anyways, though, no, it's very interesting. Do we have a proper way of disposing? I'm thinking if this is used drugs going into our waterways or whatever that's affecting the fish, do we have an effective way of disposing of like used drugs? If the Christian inside me, I do feel like, though, I still look super Christian. Like I do. And I don't know how to shake that feeling off. Folks, I don't know how to do that. But I know the Christian in me is like, use drugs. So I'm going to say it like a fucking idiot. But that whole idea is like, is there a proper way to dispose of? I know with needles and shit like that. Just don't do needle shit. That's a good life lesson for you today. Don't use needles for anything. It's probably faster. But isn't like eating shit faster too? I don't know. I thought I heard something about that. Anyways, though, folks, don't toss your drugs into the water. We should try to keep the ecosystem at least similar. Let's treat the ecosystem at least similar to how we found it. All right. gonna take a sip of this Bear Walker, not sponsored by Jackalope. I want to get a beer sponsor on this show. Just like a beer sponsor, I just drink every episode. Be like, brought to you by this. It's not like an ad. Maybe I'd give them an ad read in the episode, maybe at the beginning of the show with the regular ones. But like being like, oh yeah, and then I'm drinking this throughout the entire show. So, what the fuck's going on? Now this next one from CNET, very interesting. Heinz starts petition to make hot dogs and buns come in equal packs. Food waste is more and more of a known issue, with American consumers wasting nearly 40% of the food they buy, according to the Natural Resources Defense Council. Why, then, are hot dog makers and hot dog bun makers not doing their part? Hot dogs, Heinz Ketchup Canada says in a new video, often come in packs of 10... Ketchup Canada says in hot dogs often come in packs of 10, while hot dog buns regularly come in groups of 8. I might argue their number. I don't always see 10/8 groupings, but there's no denying they never seem to match up. I want to buy 8 hot dogs and 8 hot dog buns to go with them. Martin's character said while tearing buns out of a package at the supermarket, but no one sells 8 hot dog buns. They only sell 12 hot dog buns, so I end up paying for 4 buns I don't need, so I am removing the superfluous buns. Now Heinz Ketchup Canada is getting involved in the decade-long struggle. In addition to the video, the company posted an online petition urging Big Bun and Big Wiener get together and put 10 hot dogs in a package and 10 buns in a package. As of Wednesday morning, just over 5,700 people had signed, and their comments show the issue has bugged a lot of hot dog eaters for a lot of years. 10% in for this, I wrote one petition signer. It's been so annoying running out of buns over the years, then to resort to bread slices in a pinch just isn't the same. Said another, I agree, still one of the stupidest things on earth. At least give more buns than hot dogs. Grilled buns with a bit of garlic butter and are great for garlic bread. Heinz, of course, makes neither hot dogs nor buns, but ketchup, a condiment many people use on hot dogs and many think should never come anywhere near a hot dog. In fact, the National Hot Dog and Sausage Council just came out to say only children should eat their hot dogs with ketchup. Maybe a new petition is on the grill. So before we go into the actual dilemma in this article, the idea of ketchup on a hot dog debate is super funny. Now, I have nothing against ketchup. I don't get it. People act like they're too good for ketchup and shit like that.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
I like ketchup, but I'm definitely more of like I could go without a sauce. Like in certain situations, I need a sauce. I could eat a hot dog plain. I'm not too worried about that. But if I'm gonna put a condiment on a hot dog, I'm gonna do ketchup because I don't like mustard. I don't like relish. I'm gonna put a hot dog on a bun. And I'm gonna say something super controversial right now.
Pretty bold of you little fucks to assume that I'm not God.
But I'm going to say it. I could eat a steak with ketchup. Okay? I'll say it right here. I'll eat a steak with ketchup. Honestly, I'd rather eat a steak plain. Like I said, I'd rather do it plain. But if I'm going to use a condiment like barbecue sauce, the A1, but I will say this though. If I'm going to use a sauce, it's going to be ketchup. However, a lot of people who do ketchup with their steak also, and I will say this also, and I'm going to say this is wrong, starting now, like their steaks well done, which is crazy. My mom likes her steaks well done, and I thought that's how I liked it well done, so I ate dry-ass steaks for a while, and then I had a normal steak, and I was like, this is actually really good. And now, if my dad wants to make steak or burgers, I'm like, do not burn my burger to a crisp. I swear to fucking God, Dad. I don't cuss around my dad because they don't really like cuss. You know someone who doesn't like cussing, and like you actually like the person, so you just don't cuss around them. That's how I am. Anyway, so that's what I'll say with ketchup. Next up on the debate, yes, hot dogs and hot dog buns, they should be an equal amount. So I watch a lot of cooking shows, not because I'm a cook, because I'm kind of fat, and I've seen them make hot dogs and I've seen them make bread. So I'm gonna make a scientific guess here, because I'm a scientist with a fucking music degree right there. If you're watching video, I'm pointing to it right now. That is my music degree, and I forget I have it a lot. I have dreams where I don't finish college a lot, and I'm like, oh wait a minute, I finished college like 5 years ago. What I will say here, though, from watching cooking shows on YouTube, I feel because like the buns kind of are attached to each other. Like they're not like separated from each other. They're attached to each other. So what I'm assuming is there's one whole thing of hot dog buns. However, the hot dogs themselves can be added into multiple amounts. So I know we're talking here about, obviously we all agree, hot dogs and hot dog buns. We should just all mutually agree with a general pack of hot dogs should have this general pack of buns, okay? But I don't think big hot dog bun industry, the big hot dog bun industry, has a say in that, because I feel like they just have one whole ingredient. It's like one big blob, and they kind of like cut it up into a way where it's all going to be a hot dog buns. I think I'm going to make a guess that the big bun industry does not have control over it. They just put in however many in as they want. But I think Big Wiener, will inevitably have a choice, because I think they like stuff all the things into this weird casing, twist it off, shit like that. I know there are machines with the Big Wiener and stuff like that, but I think it's going to have to be Big Wiener who has to make that decision. If you work for someone like that, email us at theshwegcast@gmail.com. I'd be more than happy to hear whatever the fuck you have to say about this. But I think it's going to be Big Wiener's decision to make the equal amount, because I think Big Bun, they just make ingredients like split up into so much. I think Big Wiener is going to be the one who had to take the poll here. But if Big Wiener does this, I'm assuming Oscar Mayer is going to be a big one, Hebrew national. I am part Jewish, but I do prefer a kosher hot dog to like a pork hot dog. Beef hot dogs are better. Okay, folks? Beef hot dogs are better. Okay? That's all I have to say here. So, Big Wiener, get your shit together. Let's make sure we all mutually agree what number we can actually put into how many in a hot dog and how many in the bun cases. So I think Big Bun has to decide, hey, we're going to make so many hot dog buns in this case. And then Big Wiener's going to be like, okay, that's how much we're going to sell. And prices are going to be adjusted, folks. I'm sorry, prices are going to be adjusted, but that's the only way we as a society can move forward, okay? That's all we can do, okay? I am done talking about wieners for now. This last article, I'm disgusted yet highly interested in this. This is from AL.com. So if you have issues with AL.com, have your issues. I don't give a fuck. But you're going to have issues once I say this. Bill Cosby possibly planning comedy tour. The world is welcoming him back.
That's rough, buddy.
Okay. Let's get into it. As newly freed from prison, Bill Cosby may be planning a stand-up comedy tour, according to his spokesperson. Andrew Wyatt told the Philadelphia Inquirer on Thursday that Cosby, 83, has been talking to a number of promoters and comedy club owners and is just excited the way the world is welcoming him back. Wyatt is a native Bessemer and attended Miles College. Cosby was released from prison Wednesday after serving 2 years of a 3 to 10 year sentence after the Pennsylvania Supreme Court overturned his sexual assault conviction due to a non-prosecution agreement he struck with a previous prosecutor should have prevented him from being charged over his 2004 encounter with accuser Andrea Constant. I have never changed my stance nor my story, the actor comedian said in a statement. I have always maintained my innocence. It's unclear when Cosby could return to performing, but Wyatt told Inside Edition that comedy club owners have called people want to see him. So let me go with this first thing I want to say on this. So I guess, with the COVID situation that the world's been going through, if you didn't know what that was, there was a situation with a lot of prisons for I guess with some situations, I can't speak for all, and I don't know all the facts, but I guess with what Bill Cosby did, which is obviously wrong, and I am very much against it, that if he actually, because he never said that he did it. He's never admitted to saying, I did this, and I will go to prison or whatever. He's been in full denial mode that he's never done any of this shit. Even though 50 plus women, and you can even say that, I bet some of them were lying, but yeah, 50 is too big of a number, bud. That's what I have to say. And I've listened to some podcasts and shit about him, and it's just Jesus, dude. You hear these stories, I'm like, Jesus, dude. And that's the thing with Jeffrey. It's similar to Jeffrey Epstein, because with Jeffrey Epstein, what he did, he always did the same move with every child he had sex with or whatever. But Bill Cosby did the same thing. He's like, and he'll remember a girl didn't like drinking alcohol. And he's like, I got you juice because I know you don't like alcohol. It's like, Jesus, Bill. Jesus. And you know, I'm obsessed with this the Bill Cosby issues all the time, though. Mainly because I love The Cosby Show. I grew up watching The Cosby Show. Reruns. I'm not that old. But I grew up watching reruns of The Cosby Show on Nick at Night. And, you know, I absolutely love the show. And I thought it was a great show. And I think it really did, at least in my mind, help me at least realize, because I've basically grown up in all white communities with like one or two black people or whatever, and it's like, oh, you're fine. You know, situations like that, it's like they're normal, so we're cool with them. Shit like that. And so, you know, I never really grew up in like around black people, really black people, like one or two. You know, I've known black people when I was a kid, but you know, watching the Cosby Show is like a real, you know, kind of thing where it's like black people are just like everyone else, you know, type of situation, at least in my brain. And it really probably helped me, and at least growing up, realizing like, oh, I'm not racist, you know, shit like that. It probably helped me in my mind realize I'm not racist. So I want to root for Bill Cosby, but I can't. That's the problem, though. It's like so many allegations after that. You know, at the beginning, it's like, oh, I have these women are probably trying to ruin his name, and then more stories come out. It's like, okay, and then you're like, ugh, dude, what the fuck are you doing? So it's gross. So obviously I'm against it, but like, no, I guess there was a situation though, where he could have gotten out on parole and like lived in a nice lifestyle. Like he didn't have to stay in prison. He could have just been on parole, type of situation like that. But he refused to admit he did it. And he stayed in prison because he refused to admit he did it. So people call me stingy.
Come on, Mark. Don't be stingy.
But I'm not that stingy. So that's one thing here. And then he got released and shit like that. A lot of other shit, you know, going on like that. Anyways, though, so... And then the next thing is, so he got out of prison, obviously. No one's happy about that.
Congratulations. You played yourself.
Not sure if that's the best sound drop for that. But no one's happy about him getting out of prison. Because he deserves to be in prison, especially in the situation I just said, where he could be on parole. However, he won't admit to doing it, so he deserves to stay in prison, even though he's been found guilty, and he deserves to be in prison. So he got out, and no one was happy about it. We said free Britney, not free Bill Cosby, shit like that. However, though, now I've defended myself, saying I don't agree with anything Bill Cosby done. I think it's disgusting, the person who he is, and honestly, he probably could have just gotten consensual sex. I don't know why he had to drug women. I don't think he's that good looking, but at the same time, he's pretty famous, and that's all you need to get women to sleep with you, to be honest. And I don't know why he had to drug them. Next thing is he's working on doing comedy shit. Here's the problem with that. I would not pay money to see him live, okay, folks? I just want to say this. My morals are with Bill Cosby. However, I am interested in what he wants to say, okay? He has to have some material. Like, he was in prison. He has to have some material from that. I want to hear what he has to say. And I feel like we could put a disclaimer with it. Like, he's going back on the road. And the idea would be that he wants to make a special. Now, who would make that special? I don't know the moral judgment of anyone who works at Netflix. Hulu's owned by Disney. Disney Plus would be like, fuck no. They're just like, fuck no in the beginning. Part of me thinks Amazon would be okay with it. Like, Jeff Bezos doesn't have any morals. He would be okay with it. I like how I talk shit about Jeff Bezos, but I stream on his platform. Anyways, though, I don't think he should be making money doing comedy. However, I kind of want to hear what he has to say. And that's the two wolves in all of us, wondering what the fuck is going on. That's all I have to say this week on previous week right now. So, I guess, yeah. Hey, thank you for checking out that highlight from Cancel Schweezy. Now, I hope your brain cells don't hurt. We got more highlights available now everywhere. We also got more full episodes as well. If you want to watch a full episode of Cancel Schweezy, available now, right here, right now, available now. If you liked everything, make sure you subscribe to the channel. That way you get notified when new highlights and episodes come up. And leave a comment, like, and stay awesome.